the Australian Association of Bush Regenerators 2024 National Forum was hosted by our Victorian branch. Exploring the R's of ecological restoration, restoring biodiversity through resilience, regeneration, reintroduction, and reconnecting to country.
Next up, we have our Welcome to Country. Please join me in welcoming Mandy Nicholson from Djirri Djirri Cultural Services and Uncle Shane, our Bunurong Elder and Cultural Protection Officer. Oh, sorry, I did that wrong. Uncle Shane will come later. Sorry, my apologies. Dr. Nicholson is a Wurundjeri-willam artist, the founder, singer and songwriter for Djirri Djirri Dance Group and Traditional Custodian of Melbourne and surrounds. Mandy also has connections to the Wurundjeri language groups of the Central Eastern Kulin Nation on her father's side and German on her mother's. Mandy has a Bachelor of Arts in Aboriginal Archaeology, is a Wurundjeri Woi Wurrung language expert. She's also cultural mentor to young Indigenous girls through learning and teaching of culture, language, dance and ceremony, and has a PhD in how Aboriginal people connect to country off country. If you'd like to join us, Mandy.
Well, she sounds pretty deadly, that Mandy. I know, she's done lots of different things, but I think when I came in the door, not as tall, I think one of my best achievements is being a mother and now a grandmother. So I'm very privileged to be able to share what I know with my immediate family, but those around me. And I just wanted to, if they're still up there, all those words up there, you notice they all start with RE. So it's like redoing something, recreating something. And one word that should be up there is remembering country. Because throughout the whole process of the world just going day by day and the consumption of so many things and the, not the utilisation, that's the wrong word, the taking from country, the overtaking from country has made country sick. But we're sick and I am sick this morning, so see how we go. I was going to do a smoking ceremony. I would have smoked myself, but yeah, no, I'll have to do that at home later. Excuse me, I might just stop and cough sometimes. But I'm amongst friends this morning. So Burundap Yirambaring Kirapik. So good morning, all my friends. And I know that we're all on the same page about reclaiming country and bringing it back, not just where there's little patches of the literal environment still intact, but in the urban landscape as well. There's nothing stopping us, except maybe some council legislation, to regreen the city. Regreen and replan the city. And, well, there's a word, I can't think of it at the moment, but retrofitting the city. There's buildings, there's not old buildings, there's, what would you say, like this is a young building in terms of the timeline of First Nations people's connection to country, but even a place like this can be reclaimed, and the environment and First Nation perspectives can be embedded in places like this as well and really decolonise. And I don't even like the word colonise because that fluffs it up and makes it all happy and it was just like rainbows and butterflies. But invasion, we need to reclaim stuff that's been taken, not just from us as people, but from the environment, from our animals, from our spirit protectors, from our spirit creators. All of those things have been affected and continue to be affected. So because I'm not that well this morning, I apologise, but I had to take some notes. I don't take notes, I just wing it. But I had to write stuff down because I'm a bit clogged up in the head today. But I want everyone to close their eyes, but you're not allowed to fall asleep. And I want to take you back in time. And I'll close mine as well. So you can imagine it's a beautiful sunny day and there's this beautiful big bial or red gum tree. And there's goyap up in its branches. There's duart fish in the Galata, in the river. There's also eels swimming in the water as well. There's bubups over in the corner playing. There's bagaruk, women gossiping over in the other corner. Then we've got the gulunya, the men sharpening their djirra, their spears, and their wulunya, the women with their digging sticks, strengthening them over the winya, over the fire. There's moranmut, there's wind blowing. The nyawanya is making our bodies nice and warm, and we feel safe. We can hear laughter. We can hear joy. We can hear silence. We can hear the dun-dun squawking above the rainbow lorikeet. We can hear wang, the raven. We can also hear the young guy, the black cockies, telling us it's going to rain in a couple of days. And now I want you to open your eyes and imagine that big bial, that big red gum tree, being cut down. And this is a metaphor for cultural genocide, where all of those families were ripped apart. Those children no longer play, no longer laugh. The river is poisoned from all the pollution. The eels and the fish are sick, the water is sick. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel. This tree, the roots grew very, very deep, and they represent language. The trunk represents the elders, and the strength and the knowledge of our elders. The shoots coming out of the side of the trunk represent the community leaders that are helping the elders, because they're run dry. Everyone's pulling them in all different directions. And the community leaders sometimes too. And then over those hundreds of years of life, she dropped hundreds of seeds. And as we know, in another life, I would have been an ecologist, by the way. I love what you do. But those seeds germinated after a fire came through. And that mother tree, through the mycelium, if I've pronounced that correctly, you guys can correct me, all these different messages through the root systems, through the fungus, telling the next generation of trees, yep, this is my genetic code, let's do this, let's grow, let's get big and strong. So the mother tree's nurturing her seedlings. And eventually, those little seedlings become the babandarang, or the mother trees themselves. Now there's a place, sorry to any Christians, I don't mean any disrespect here, but I don't really like the architecture of churches, I'm sorry, because they are very Gothic and very daunting and very dominant in the landscape, and I mean the European landscape. And there's a big church near Flinders Street. Next to it's a little parking lot, and there was some old sketches, or again, not old, but European sketches, so relatively young. And they had this drawing of the church. Next to it was a big bial, red gum tree. And this inspired me to reclaim that tree, because they called it a prayer tree. I'm like, hey, that's our tree. We've sat under that tree and played and made baskets and all of these things for generations, and the metaphorical trees as well. So I reclaimed that tree, and that's why I created a song to honour the babandarang, that mother tree. So we are the first scientists, we're the first ecologists, we're the first astronomers, astrologers, we're the first of everything. And when you utilise our knowledge, it isn't about take, but I know I'm in a room full of friends today and you get it. But people have been taking from us for so long that we have to protect our knowledge, because it can be used in the wrong way. It can be used for, in the academic world, as a big tick. As a professor, I've written this paper and look at all of my knowledge. But what about the poor little black fella that's given all that knowledge over? So what we need to do is we need to have a platform to author these papers, author these regimes, I don't know if that's the right word. We need to have the power and the platform to actually be able to write policy that protects country, not just have us tag along in the process. We need to create relationships with First Nations people from the very beginning, and not just have that tick the box, but have them at the very beginning, create relationships, lifelong relationships, by the way. And something that we find very hard to do is to give our trust to somebody, because we've been exploited for so long. So once that relationship's built, and that's the point that you can start talking about how can we work together, how can we have a mutually beneficial outcome, and it's not a straight line, as you all know. It starts here, and then it starts to go forward, then there's sorry business. So it's stopped, it's paused for months, then it goes back to the beginning, then it goes forward again. Then there's other community commitments, because we all have commitments. If somebody's passed in our general community, we have to stop what we're doing and we have to go do our ceremonial responsibilities for their families. And this happened last week. And we've got all of these extra responsibilities and we have to fight extra hard to be equal in anything in life these days. So we're on that journey. It's going all over the place. It's going backwards. It seems like it's going backwards, but we're still always thinking about this relationship. It goes all around the place, and at the very end, when that project, whatever it is finished, so-called finished, I say that, that's when the relationship has to keep going, because you need to work with First Nations people, as you do already, because I know that there's a few groups there's a few familiar faces in here. You already do it. Is not just a straight line, beginning of project, get an elder here or there, finish project in a straight line. That's not going to work. And when we talk about regeneration and revitalisation of country, it's really about us as well as traditional custodians. We're revitalising our culture, re-strengthening our culture through this process as well. So we're along the journey on two different trajectories. We're helping policy and things like that, but we're healing ourselves. Now, I think I may have already said, I used to be a Narrap ranger and I loved it, minus the spraying and the weeding. But the favourite part of that was being out on country. We forget to tune out. We forget to tune out of that madness that we're all living in, and we have to tune into nature, and that's where my favourite part of that job was being with family, with mob, being out on country and understanding the plants on another level of understanding. Oh, that's that particular tree there. That one works with this tree. These bugs help this. Because it's something we don't really learn enough through our schooling, unless you're an ecologist, I suppose. So I really loved doing that and I really, really miss it. And along my journey there, I became and I don't know the title, I'm not like a jump in a fire truck and go and fight fires. I'm not that level, but I did fire training. So I've got accreditation to go and participate in cultural burns. And I know one of the sessions later is going to be talking about that. That was a life-changing moment for me because I've always wanted to do it. And taking care of country that way on a bigger picture, where I know I've seen signs around that there's going to be seasonal burn-offs. It's like, why don't we have, I know the Narrap team did this up at Gabor at Mount Macedon. They actually had the cultural name of it and Wurundjeri cultural burn on this date. It should be all over the place because people go, ooh, that's different. And it's not just bomb blasting different areas and obliterating it in this big cloud of smoke. It's about those cool burns and we're manicuring the environment. That way the animals have time to escape, not do grids where they get trapped in that fire. And it's such a beautiful thing to see when we're burning grass, all the little grubs, and I'm jumping in there, saving all the praying mantis and all the grasshoppers, but they can get out. And it's such a mesmerising and therapeutic thing to see. What else? And one, I won't go on, but there's one another life-changing moment that I really love to share, and it's one patch of forest that has not been logged. And as we know, there's not many, correct me if I'm wrong, 80-90% of old-growth forest is gone. And there's a patch up on Talangi, and it's the Monda Reserve or something like that, and there's these old trees up there, and we were filming something, and I was asked to get there before the sun came up, and I'm like, oh Jesus, I didn't want to get up, all that. But wow, if you've ever got an opportunity to get up into the mountains before the sun rises, it will change your life as well, because I was sitting there and all the dew was coming down from the trees. So I got my phone out and just recorded it, and then I started hearing the young guy, the black cocky, the Nayuk, the white cocky, Dun Dun, the parrot, Gamayil, the Corella. I heard them all singing and I'm like, wow, this is so amazing. They're all singing for me. I love it. then I realised something, because I stopped and I really listened. This is how we do forget to really listen to nature. And I realised the sound was coming from the ground. I'm like, oh my God. It was Bulun and the lyrebird. And they were singing a chorus to each other, trying to get girlfriends. And they were singing so powerfully and so staunchly, and it took me a while to realise it's not coming from the trees. That was a life-changing moment in terms of me teaching myself to stop and really listen to nature, because they're telling us a story that we don't listen to. So I'll finish off there, but enjoy the rest of the day. I'll stick around as long as I can. I've got to head off and do 100 other things. But thank you for having me here at such a special event. And I know you're all warriors for the environment physically and how it works together. We are all warriors as First Nation people on a spiritual level, because, like I said, healing country heals us. Thank you.
Massive thanks to our forum sponsors: City of Yarra, DNA Training, Harbour Green, Merri Creek Management Committee, Ecological Consultants Association Victoria, Stantec Australia, Global Green Environmental, NRM Jobs, and Nature Links. Arbor promotes the study and practice of ecological restoration and fosters and encourages effective management of Australia's natural areas by qualified people based on sound ecological principles. Join us to help promote good work practices, to strengthen our industry and network with like-minded people. Thanks for visiting Regen TV. Call by again soon for more restoration content you can trust.